Good morning, and thank you very much for. I can't hear myself. There's a horrible howl back, and I'm sorry. I'll get myself together very shortly. Aha. Well, let's start again. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm not going to be saying it anymore. I mean, otherwise I'll be saying it every day that it's raining in Lagos. It is the season, so we'll just leave it. It's like saying it's sunny in the tropics. This is the season when we can almost take it for granted that there will be rain on more days than not. So that goes to explain, the situation here. Now, this morning, let's take a look at, as it were, we'll focus on Kogi State. So it's like, if you want something of a Kogi 101, for those who don't know it, who don't know what's going on there, we have two gentlemen, who indeed are not in that situation, and we shall be, as it were, picking their minds and trying to understand. It's a complex, well, it depends on how you look at it. There are those who say it's a complex state in that how it came together, and the local governments in there, and the whole matter of the rulership of Kogi, all of that, and it's made up of diverse peoples, all of who are being unified by the fact that they all share a state today. Let me introduce Terence Kwanum. Terence is president of the Middle Belt Youth Forum. He's also a social commentator. Good morning, and thank you for coming on, Terence.
Thanks for having me on.
Indeed. And apart from Mr. Terence Kwanum, there's Mr. Gbenga Olorunpomi. Now, Mr. Olorunpomi is in government. He's senior special assistant to the Kogi State Governor, Governor Yahaya Bello, on electronic media. You're very welcome, Mr. Olorunpomi.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, sir.
Our pleasure always. Okay, let me start from here, Let me start with you. You know that bit I was saying about, that it might be complex to those that are not totally familiar with it. First of all, maybe many people just know about there's the Gala side, there's even a Yoruba part. Explain very, very briefly, please, from the point of view of those who are not necessarily part of it. They just see Kogi and think of it as one block. Actually, there's been a long-standing, shall we say, movement for fairness and rotation in the rulership of Kogi State. Give us a brief, I know if you had 2 hours, you'd take it. Give us a brief understanding of the quote-unquote complex nature of Kogi State.
Thank you very much, Uncle. I'm happy to be on your show. Kogi State is one of those God-given states that just happens to exemplify what Nigeria is. Kogi was created in 1991, August 27, and it came out of a block of states that currently surround it.
That's right.
Kogi is interesting in many ways. Kogi has probably about 200 different tongues, 200 different languages, and there are sets and subsets. I'll give you a good example, just to explain how complex Kogi can be. I'm from Kogi West, Kogi West Senatorial Zone. Both my parents are from the same senatorial zone. So my mother is from Ijumu local government. My father is from Kababunu. Their villages are separated by probably, say, 1 hour, 20 minutes drive. But the funny thing is, if they were speaking their mother tongue, their original tongue, they probably don't understand each other, yet they are from the same subset of Okun. I'll give you an example. My mother would say obete to exemplify knife, while my dad would say ihe. So this is
And that's in one family.
And that's one family.
There you go.
So growing up, I had to know the difference between speaking Ijumu, speaking Bunu, which is my own mother tongue, and then understanding that even within Yagba are different tongues. So Kogi is a state that is complex, but that complexity is an asset. It's an asset that we have not taken advantage of, but it is currently being taken advantage of by the current governor of Kogi State.
Because I was going to ask now, the current governor, what part does he come from?
Okay, the current governor of Kogi State is blessed to come from the central part of Kogi State. He's an Ibiraman. And what's interesting is that since the creation of the state, the governors, the people who have been opportune to lead the state democratically, have come from a certain senatorial zone, which is dominated by the Igala people. Now, by providence and because of God's only arrangement, only God made it happen, Governor Yabelo emerged as governor of Kogi State. And he has taken advantage of the fact that he got there only by providence. And is making sure that he empowers as many of these sub-tribes as possible. I'll give you, I always use myself as an example. My village is probably the smallest village in the whole of Okonland. But by virtue of the fact that he said that he wants to ensure that appointment is done fairly and done equitably, I was asked to offer my service to the state. I was sitting in my house when I got the call, asked to bring my CV, and I even attended interviews just to show you how serious he takes it. And I emerged, and I'm here today. This wouldn't have happened in subsequent governments. I'm an SSA today, sitting here with you. I get phone calls from people of my age, people older than me. We talk, we sit down, we judge like contemporaries. This wasn't possible under previous administrations. You would see people that were unapproachable, young, elderly people who held offices, and the ones who held sway. They were the ones who controlled the state. Today, young people like myself are in power. We have extremely young commissioners. We have people who are energetic and who can sit down with the governor and relate on strategy and on ensuring that the state moves forward. And that is happening in so many ways. It is unfortunate, though, that what you hear out of Kogi State from the mass media are issues to do with insecurity. Oh, my governor is wearing dark glasses in his. Those are not the things that are important. I'll give you a very good example. On the day Governor Yabelo became governor of Kogi State, only 73 expatriates were in the state. Why? Because of insecurity. Kogi was one state where there were kidnappings, armed robbery, extremely serious issues on ground. But within a very short time, today I'm proud to say that we did our census and found that 273 expatriates live and work in Kogi State. It means that security has seriously improved. Even by statistics, Kogi State is currently the second most peaceful state in Nigeria, going by statistics coming out of very relevant bodies. And again, when people say, what are we doing in terms of the economy? The National Bureau of Statistics released some very interesting statistics very recently, where they said that only 9 states created more jobs between 2017 and 2018. Guess what? Kogi is one of those 9 states. Why? 1, people feel secured enough to go to farm, and investors feel secured enough to put their money to invest, and we are creating jobs. So those are the things that are happening in Kogi State that people don't get to hear. Why? Okay. Because they would rather just talk about incidents that have nothing to do with development, but all to do with politics.
Okay. Thank you very much for that bird's eye view, necessarily abbreviated. Terence, how far, because I'll say arguably people think about Kogi State and going back in time, the name Prince Audu comes up. How far different removed from the Prince Audu days, who is, by the way, as we've just heard, an Igala man, right?
Yes. Of blessed memory.
Of blessed memory now, yeah. Those days and these days, politically, in terms of how well people have become cohesive, is there much difference from those days and now?
Yeah, there's a lot of difference. One, as a middle belt people, we are concerned people because Nigeria is gravitating towards the attention of the middle belt, where because of the desert desertification, there's a lot of interest in farming activities, and because we want to diversify into agriculture and leaf oil. Now there's a lot of interest within the middle belt. Now we have become a concerned people. Now everything that happens around us, we are concerned with it. But let me start with Prince Abubakar Audu. I'm from Benue. Prince Abubakar Audu was the Commissioner of Finance from Benue. He left Benue when they created Kogi in 91 to come and become a governor.
That's right.
Now,
Well, that is one of the surrounding states
yes,
that
exactly.
there is
he
an
was talking
aura
about.
that goes with first-term indigenous governors. It's natural everywhere. They are the first indigenous that becomes governors and XYZ, and most of the structures that form the foundation of states are always around them. That went with him. But we became very concerned with the issue of Kogi State when Yaya Bello emerged as governor of Kogi State because of the stories we were hearing from Kogi. So at the point we said, no, let's go to Kogi and find out what is happening in Kogi State. Okay. Is it that this young man cannot
that is
govern the
when you
state?
say we, you're talking about
The Middle Belt
okay.
Youth Forum.
Youth Forum.
Yes.
Okay.
Is this that this young man cannot be able to man this effectively? Now, on getting to Kogi State we left from Benue. On getting to Kogi State from Mankpa, we started seeing good roads. And we stopped and find out who did these ones. Is it Abubakar? Is it Idris? What they say, no, he's the recent governor. And we now became interested. Is it this worst governor that has given us this road that we are using now? Now we became curious. So on getting to Lokoja, we wanted to find out what exactly is happening and what are you doing? They say you owe 38 months salaries. How will people live in a state you owe 38 months salary? He told us to be patient. There is no need to propagate. He is paying salaries in the next week. And they will know the months he has paid. Those salaries were paid in, it was December, January. So December, January of 2019 cannot be 38 months. Now we wanted to find out where the 38 months is coming from. Now we saw what was amazing. People left Benue. People left Kwara. Came to Kogi on a payroll since 91 and wanted to maintain that payroll to be hereditary. That even if I die, my children should be collecting from that payroll on Kogi State government payroll. He had the courage as a leader to stop it and rather develop infrastructure in that state. So we were able to see a lot of infrastructure. Now we say that no. If we allow leadership in the Middle Belt to be crumbled because of blackmail and campaigns of calumny, it means that leadership around the Middle Belt will not be good. The attention Nigeria is shifting to the Middle Belt will not be effective because we won't be able to offer good leadership. Now we needed to stand up and make sure that things were right. And then what do we discover? Why will a state as complex as Kogi State be engulfed with issues of ethnic hegemony? That must it be an Igala man that must be governor? Why are in these times, why are we not discussing leadership based on capacity?
It is the dominant group, right?
The issue, we noticed that this propaganda were coming from one direction to achieve the established hegemony that is practiced in Kogi State, that governors must be from the Igala. They were not discussing issues of capacity. Now we say no, we will not take that. Today, we have a minority who is a governor in PLATEAU State. You know that. You know what he's doing. Today we have, Intiri has just emerged in Adamawa State. So people are emerging now based on capacity. It is no longer based on we are the majority and XYZ. So let's assess this young man on what he has done to Kogi State. Then let the masses decide. It shouldn't be an issue of campaign of calumny and blackmail against the person of the governor. At the end of the day, who is going to vote is the masses of the Kogi people. So let them know the truth. So that is where we are. We want the people of Kogi State to know that this governor has developed infrastructure. I wish I know most of these villages, I saw those roads vivid. But I know that a road is going to Ida. I know that the road is in Ayamba. I know that the road is going to Ogwalao. I know of so many roads that I was able to identify.
No, I can assist you.
Yes.
I can assist you with some of these.
Also, apart from
yes.
that, and I didn't want to stop that.
Yes.
But you were saying earlier that it was a so-called minority, actually being in government house.
Yes.
It was by fortune. Could you explain that a bit? That it didn't follow normal calculations and political calculus that he emerged. Just explain that bit, please.
The truth of the matter is that Nigeria is a country governed by laws, and Governor Yabelu is a beneficiary of those same laws. So what happened was that he participated in the primaries of the that brought about the candidature of the late Prince Audu Abubakar, who was at the time contesting to be governor of Kogi State. As at the time when the gentleman lost his life, Governor Yabelu was the one who came second in the primaries that produced that candidate. So, in the wisdom of INEC, they decided that the person who came second on the ticket that was at that time should be a beneficiary. No, the APC ticket should be the beneficiary of the votes. Now, immediately that happened, and he was, and there was supposed to be a secondary election, supplementary election, to make up for because some votes were cancelled because of many reasons, and he was one that was blessed with that position. Now, what happened was, the moment he was sworn in, so there were so many cases in court, and that's one of the reasons why we are here today, because of the many issues that led to his emergence, his divine emergence. Many people decided that they were not satisfied and went to court. But guess what? While they were going to court, Governor Yabelu was busy recalibrating the state. As at the day he was sworn in, which was January 27th of 2016, Kogi State had on its payroll close to 87,000 people. We're talking state workers, local government workers, and pensioners. And what happened was that, as at then, 87,000, that was a remarkably large number. It means that the state was paying close to 6 billion naira in salaries per month, salaries and wages per month. So the man said, look, let us reassess. Let us reassess ourselves and find out if we actually have this number. So what he did was to do what is called, which is one of his agenda, restructuring the civil service in Kogi State, because that's the engine block of any government. So what he did was to say, let us push out. They set up a committee headed by very, very prominent people. They pushed out 87,000 forms, well signed, well documented. That let us push it out and see what happens. Believe me, sir, more than 10,000 forms did not even return. Of the ones that are returned, you would see on many forms, I'll give an example. Some will say, my name is Sani Abdullahi, my name is Abdullahi Sani, but having the same BVN, the same bank verification number. What that meant was that before Yabelo came in, anybody could sit down and on a certain payday get probably 40 different salaries. We had occasion of people who were on level 12 in one ministry and at level 15 in another ministry. We had so many incidents like this, and this was they've been fleecing the state of billions every year. So once he did that,
allegedly.
The truth is that now we have the report. The report is out there.
Okay.
Now we are so confident in ourselves that at some point, what we did was to even publish the salaries of every individual that ever taken a penny from the state between when the governor came in and the time in question. And many people who were shouting at the time that, I've been cleared, I don't have an issue, they're not paying me. Everybody saw that they were just lying, that it was untrue. So yes, while it is true that we are owing some months, and it's a problem that we inherited, first of all, the amount of money that comes into the state via FAC and what we generate internally, sometimes it's not even enough to pay salaries. Just salaries alone. And these are workers that account for less than 1% of the state. We're not saying they're not important. Don't get me wrong. But we have to take care of security. We have to take care of health. We have to take care of education. We have to take care of the mass of the people. And the man is doing that to the best of his ability.
Okay.
Yes, he's owing salaries. And there are some states that are earning far more than Kogi State, that have far less number of civil servants, and are owing far more than we are owing. In the middle belt, I believe that we are one of the, I think we are topping the chart, even in the middle belt. Despite all this, the point I'm trying to make is that despite all these problems, Lokoja is far cleaner than it ever used to be.
Okay.
The universities, the higher institutions are operating optimally. There is security in the land. Investments are coming in. We are currently building the second biggest rice mill across the north. It's 89% complete and will be commissioned very soon. The Okene people who have never enjoyed good water now have the Okene General Water Works in full operation. My people from the Okun side are benefiting massively from this government because their children are in decision-making positions. The people of the Igala land who have produced governors all these years, I'll make bold to say here that the village of both the immediate past governor and the one before him, their villages never had electricity until Yaya Bello came and gave them electricity.
So, Yaya Bello emerged as, Wenga has explained, the will of God.
Yes,
Exactly. If you want.
And in the eyes of the law, because the issue
of course,
cleanliness.
of course, and that, as you know, at the time, it was all over the news.
It was
all
huge
sorts of
drama.
analysis. It was huge. There were all sorts of pressures, but the law was the law, and so we have what we have. It would appear that you gentlemen seem to be suggesting that, well, ever since then, well, okay, back to the trenches. Those who do not particularly favor maybe ordinarily at that time, who knows, if Yaya Bello had been the ticket, it might have been different. Who knows?
Of course.
Who knows?
Of course.
But now that he has got there, as I think you said something about, words of calumny, there are those who naturally will continue that campaign, but you have sought to show that development, perhaps in some instances, unseen development, unprecedented development and progress has come to Kogi. Know that all those will be part of what will stand in the stead of the governor when he wants to, campaign for
Exactly.
a election.
Exactly.
But it's like the other side is not, as it were, taking that lying down low.
They are not letting up.
They're not letting up. What do you so it also follows from what you've said that there is a sort of a propaganda machine that not much has been seen from Kogi.
From Kogi,
not much has been seen from the governor, Governor Yaya Bello, by way of anything new development. But you've sought to show that, look, we have facts and figures, chapter and verse,
Exactly.
to be able to show that that's not the case if people would only be open-minded. How difficult do you think that particular quest would be?
No, it's an issue of being open to the people of Kogi State.
Yes.
And to be able to assimilate themselves into this new chapter of development for Kogi State. When Kogi people were voting by November of 2015, they were voting out bad governance.
Exactly.
I could remember vividly that a week to that election, Governor Wada was on national TV and he was asked to proffer solution to the issues confronting him in Kogi State. He was helpless. So these people voted out bad governance. Now, when Yaya Bello came and saw this thing, first he needed to lay a foundation for development in Kogi State that will sustain itself. So it was not an issue of coming to follow the normal dynamics that were on ground. Now, these people are resisting these things because one is strange to them. Their third governor was about sharing Kogi State money and then everybody laughing home and people connecting their personal houses to the generators of their personal houses to the generator and Lugard houses. So he came and took transformation to the grassroots. You just heard now that I sat as governor, I couldn't electrify my village. My predecessor came and did it for me. And then there's a good road leading to that place. It means that somebody took over from you, came and opened your village for you. But now the person is still a bad person. It means that somebody is going against the normal dynamics that were on ground in Kogi State. And so that is the resistance. What we are saying is that
Okay, one moment, please, because somebody has called in,
Yeah.
as is usual on this program,
Yes.
to want to contribute to the conversation. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
And good morning to the guests there.
Yes.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, truth must be told. The emergence of Yaya Bello as governor is the main issue. And it is not as tainted by the two guests in front of you. We were all here. During the time the main candidate passed on, Yaya Bello was not active in the party. He was already on the other side attacking the APC. But there was a cabal that brought him in, which the APC members were not happy about. And you can see what his special assistant has said there, that if, because of where he comes from, if Yaya Bello did not come in, somebody like him would not have been in the position he is today. Mm-hmm. That gave me one impression, that even when he emerged in the way he did, if he had been open-minded and dealing with all tribes in the same manner, he would not have the problems he's having today. Those on ground are saying that he has come to favor only his people and a few chosen ones. And that is the main issue. The APC in Kogi today, Uncle Yori, they are protesting that they do not want the governor to recontest. Majority of them are saying no. We want a direct primary. We want the majority. We want to have the primary to be done directly so that the majority members can speak. The APC has swallowed a bitter pill by taking in this governor. But it is not the best that they should discard him at this moment because it might work against them. But truth must be told. They need to call this governor to a very serious private session and to tell him to govern well. If he governs well, it may help him to overcome the challenges he's going through today. But to sit down there and paint a picture as if he is doing so well and that it is capacity that brought him, somebody like me will not agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay then, Mr. George. Thank you very much for calling in.
Quick response.
Indeed you will, and it doesn't even need to be quick. I want to give you the time to respond, but I've got to go on a break first, so that I should not truncate your responses. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back, and indeed the gentleman will respond to that position. Okay, welcome back, and Mr. Terence Kwanem, President, Middle Belt Youth Forum in the House still. He's a social commentator, and Mr. Gbenga Olorunpomi, Senior Special Assistant to the Kogi State Governor Yaya Bello, on electronic media also here. Now, just before we went, one of our regular callers, Mr. George, called in, and you heard it all. Yes. That look, this he actually said that he doesn't come along entirely with the positions that you have painted, that Yahaya Bello arrived, as it were, almost by accident. And APC was not happy about it, allegedly. So that's the truth of the matter. And actually, that he was on the other side, fighting APC, and now he's become the beneficiary. How would you respond to all of that?
First of all,
especially with the governor's intention, no doubt, to represent himself.
I'm happy that somebody's, and Mr. George, thank you so much for that question, for making your observations here. First of all, there's no evidence anywhere to show that the current governor of Kogi State was ever against the APC at any point. Of course, there were issues. There were serious issues bordering on the emergence, the legality of the emergence of the late Prince Abubakar. And he voiced those, he has his right to voice those.
Because he won the election.
No, he came second.
No. I mean the prince.
No, the prince was won the primaries.
Okay.
But the legality of him even running that primaries was in question.
Was in question.
And Governor Yaya Bello was one of those who voiced that his anger at the emergence. Now, and I don't know how much Mr. George knows about the current story in Kogi State, but right now, Kogi State APC is 100% loyal to the governor of Kogi State. Yes, there were issues in the beginning.
Well, actually, isn't it the other way around? It's the governor that has to be loyal to the party.
He's loyal to the party, but the leadership of the party, he and the leadership
is behind him.
They enjoy
Maybe
a very, very, very cordial relationship.
Okay.
A very cordial
And
relationship.
is behind him.
And what he has done is to find a way to ensure that there is the power share within the stakeholders is even and works very well. So when I get a call that tells me that I'm not sitting here to paint a rosy story, I'm only giving you facts that this man, whatever you want to say about his emergence, has taken the state a step further, and in very, very interesting ways. One thing many people don't know is that Kogi State is surrounded by 10 states, and that's the only state with such a character. 10 different states surround it, meaning that there are multiple ways to enter and multiple ways to exit. It means that security is a big issue. But for somebody to take the state from where it was, where there were a lot of insecurity, to where it is right now, where it's the second most peaceful state in Nigeria and the most peaceful state in the north, it means that the man has invested. And what is this investment? First of all, Kogi State clocked 25 years on August 27, 2016. Between when he became governor on January 27th of the same year and that time, Governor Yaya Bello was able to make available 110 security vehicles, which he distributed evenly amongst vigilante service, the police, the navy, the army, and the police, and even the civil defense service in the state. He reorganized all the vigilantes in the state under one service. So right now, there are 3,000 trained men.
And you think this has sort of improved the security
Believe
situation?
me, right
in the
now.
place? Okay, I don't want
The
to keep
state is
Mr.
secure.
Okay, I don't want to keep Mr. Ago waiting, who called in from Plateau. Good morning, Mr. Ago.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. I want to contribute on this issue of security and governance in Kogi State. When we are talking of security, the primary function of government is to maintain life and property of the citizens. And how do you maintain life and property? Until when justice prevails. And if justice prevails, the choice and the will drive of the electorate and the masses for the citizens within the state is protected. And in a situation where there is no security, you do not expect governance will prevail. If you do not achieve governance, you will not achieve security. You will agree with me when we are talking of governance. Governance is all about dividends of democracy that is disseminated from the state to all local government levels, where the social welfare being of the citizens is protected. But it is unfortunate the security and life and property of the people in Kogi State is not something to write home about. The idea of injustice has dominated the governance. The idea of self-centeredness have overcome the governance. Tribalism, nepotism, sectionalism has taken over the governance. How do you expect security to be maintained in Kogi State? Sample your opinion today in Kogi State. Let the citizens or the electorate go on questionnaire whether that present governor on seat is accepted by the electorate. You cannot force yourself while people do not like you, and you are claiming that you are a governor. All this discourse that is going on, we should call spade a spade. You understand? So, what I'm trying to say in essence, if you are discussing security, security is a collective responsibility, but that has to do with the fundamental right of every individual that manifests for everybody to value value human beings.
Mr. Ago,
But the life,
Mr. Ago,
Yes, sir.
you heard Mr. Olorunpomi speak about efforts of the governor and the government to be even-handed. He talked about some security assets acquired and distributed evenly. You don't come along with that?
I do not agree, because if we are talking of security, as far as I'm concerned, all these apparatus they are claiming has been sponsored and monitored by they themselves, because the governors do not respect the governance, because the governors are the less privileged of the society. So because they have the security in control, they have everything they can do in disguise just to maintain the power, and they do not have the state at heart. Rather, they believe in themselves and for themselves with their immediate family.
All right then. Well, thank you very much for calling in. Okay.
You know that it's interesting from the callers that we're having. It goes to show a long way that
actually, you haven't had a chance to speak since Mr. George spoke. So you are going to have to combine
Mr. George and them. It is interesting because this is the narrative that has been aground against the governor.
Without examples.
Now, with
examples.
no reality. When you say a governor is sectional, is nepotic, and now there is proof that the governor who you claim to be sectional is developing Igala land, is developing Mapo, is developing Okun, is developing everywhere with evidence.
But why would people say, I don't believe it, when seeing is believing?
Again, there's no...
seeing is believing.
What I'm discussing here, what we are discussing here is reality.
Exactly.
It's not
That's
imagination.
what I'm saying. If
Now,
seeing is believing,
yes.
why are people saying, nah, I don't believe
Yes.
it?
I'll give you an
So
example.
the issue is about power dynamics.
Exactly. There are 15 local...
It is about power dynamics. I know the proponents of power dynamics always believe that anything that is outside their dynamics is a revolution.
Sir, I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Before, so
You
what
talk
do you
about
talk about?
15 local
No,
governments.
15 ministries in
ministry.
Kogi State. Because going by the, if you're going to go by the number of local governments per senatorial zone, the Eastern Senatorial Zone has 9, the Central has 5, while my own place has 7. What the governor did was to say that 7 commissioners should come from the Eastern Bloc, 3 from his own place. He only has 3 commissioners, while the other place has my own place has the rest. Kogi State is the only state that has, as far as I know, before Lagos State, had a female SSG. And he was specific that he wanted somebody from the Okun-speaking side. And she today still remains the SSG of the state. When he became governor, the head of the judiciary, the head of the legislature, and the head of government were all Ibira men by providence. That's what happened. But what did the governor do? The governor called his brother from the legislature and told him, look, we are not the only ones that God created this state for. We have to find a way to make this thing go round. And he helped with working with him. Yes, there were crises, but working with him, they were able to get another person from the minority in the.
Okay, that is speaking to the whole area of nepotism.
Yes,
tribalism,
so there's no evidence. There's no
tribalism.
evidence
Let me bring in Mr. Ayokomi, who is calling in from Abuja. Good morning, Mr. Ayokomi.
Hello, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Go ahead, please.
All right. Thank God for the work you are doing, and may God bless you for it. I just want to quickly ask people there with you this morning if they are indeed talking about the Kogi State that we know or another Kogi State entirely.
But you are calling from Abuja now.
Yes, I am calling from Abuja,
But you know
that
Kogi?
is my state.
But okay.
That is my state.
But you know Kogi.
I know Kogi pretty well. Okay, and I will just ask a few questions from, especially from Benga. Please, will you tell me where Dr. Akinyele and Oloroda, his own uncle, is as we speak, if he's talking about the security of the state? Number 2 is that if you are saying people are secured and your government is well accepted by the people, why do they need guns even during the last election? What happened in IKEJA during the last election? Please, these people should stop coming to the ear and telling us what is not. Kogi State is not the best of all the states as they are. Where are the projects? Is it not the same state that we go to? That is where I am from. And we travel home every now and then. So they should tell, do we have another Kogi State in heavens? Even if this man, it can be an excuse if he's not from Kogi State, he's saying what he's saying. But for us that are from Kogi State and for Benga especially, why will you come on here and say things like these that are not true? Our state is in a state of sorry. We need God to intervene for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
But before you go, Mr. Ayokomi, before you go, sir.
Yes, sir.
The instances that Mr. Lauren Kwame reeled out of about development, roads construction, and all of that. How say you?
I can't hear you, Kuyori. Can you please?
Okay, he reeled out instances of progress, development, construction, roads. What would you say to all of that, since they are physically on ground?
Uncle Yori, I may not be able to talk for the East, but it's flagging of projects the same thing with projects done.
Okay.
Because they will be quick to tell you that the flag of that roads are constructions are ongoing. Please let them show. They should let them go. Let them show us on ground these jobs that have been done.
Okay.
Severally, they come on the social media to tell us on me rice and the likes that Kogi are selling rice. They should show us the processing line.
Okay.
You don't just sell rice without a processing line. How did you come about it? Where did you grow the rice? Where did you process them? Show us. Let people see.
All right.
And these roads you are talking about, if you flag off a road, it doesn't mean it's passable that very day. So if you have flagged off a road, because they will be quick to tell me a road was flagged off from between the Canadian and Ife Olukoto or whatever. But ever since it has been flagged off, they should come back to tell me what has been done, what has been achieved on the road.
Okay.
They should not tell the world what is not. If you are not doing well, there will be another opportunity for you to do well. Go back to the drawing board, do what you need to do, not that you come to the ear and tell the people you have done what is on ground for the people.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Ayokomi. I think I should give you
Yes.
a right of response to that.
It's clear that this gentleman knows me very well, and
Okay, because
he just touched a very sore point. My mom's younger brother was kidnapped 27th of May 2016. That was about 4 months into the governance of Governor Yaya Bello. Exactly 4 months, and up until this second, we don't know his whereabouts. It's a painful but true situation. But this is one case out of so many. Before we even took firm control, the governor took firm control of security in Kogi State. Even his mother, under the previous administration, his mother was kidnapped and spent more than 90 days in the hands of kidnappers. So he's somebody who also felt the personal pain. I'm sitting here, I feel the personal pain. But that doesn't mean that we have not made successes. That doesn't mean that currently we are not doing very well when it comes to security. When it comes to road construction, there are so many projects that are ongoing that the governor has taken personal stake in. We've signed so many deals with reputable companies to come and take over the financing of these projects and do it in such a way that the state won't be hampered as it's making money. People talk about IKEJA. When Governor Yaya Bello came in, the state was barely doing 350 million a month. But what did he do? He immediately pushed for an executive bill that gives the autonomy and that created what we call the Kogi State Internal Revenue Service. What happens with that is that this service has autonomy to use 10% of whatever it generates to run itself and to create and to get more money. Today we are averaging around 1.3 billion per month, and we are on course to meet 3 billion every month. Money that we know will come back to making the state better. We're not saying that the place is rosy. We're not saying that we have gotten to where we need to get to. But what we are saying is that we are taking steps. He's talking today about Kogi State. This was a state that didn't even have laws that enforced environmental cleanliness. This was a state that didn't have laws to enforce traffic laws. We didn't have all those things going for us. This governor is the one that has been pushing for them. Under him, we have signed more than 50 bills that will be used to govern the people and govern them properly. These are the things we're trying to say. We're not saying that we are there. We're not saying that we have overachieved.
And you also don't agree that nothing is going on.
Come August
even
27.
Even as you're not saying we are there.
Yes, sir.
I think you're taking exception.
Come
to
August
the fact that
27, we are going to be commissioning more than 40 projects. That is a given.
Come
August 27 of this year.
Okay. Okay, now Mohammed is in Dublin, and thank you for holding on. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ayori. It's a pleasure. I want to contribute to the program. My name, as you said, is Mohammed. I'm calling from Republic of Ireland. I'm from Kogi State. I'm from Kogi State. I just want to ask the other gentleman there, the Middle Belt.
Yeah, Terence Kwanum.
Mr. Kanu. Previously, the Igalas and the Idomas and the TVs were together in Benue State. And since the inception of Benue State, has any other tribes from the other two major tribes that ever ruled Benue State? That is just one question I want to ask him. And secondly, he's always saying about Igalas. Igalas are not at all against Yabelo being there. Never. To my own assessment. Mm-hmm. Leadership is given by Almighty Allah. And it is his own time. The Igalas have been there. But why is he anchoring that the Igalas are against? We are not against. Even our sons is there. The chief security officer, what is his name? Onoja. He has given them all the opportunities. And we are all happy that he's young and he's there. Why is he always saying? Okay. But you, Mr. Ayori, remember you asked him that Igalas are the majority. Mm-hmm. But he did not answer you that questions. But that is why, since the Igalas were in Benue, we never rolled the state. Because it's always the TV until this day. Why is he always beckoning on the Igala? We are happy for Yarabello. It is time. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Mohammed, for that question. It's very fundamental that the Igalas are the majority. In Benue too, the Chiefs are the majority. But we are out saying that the issue of ethnic hegemony should not be the issue of leadership within the Middle Belt again. It does not exclude the Igala, the Chief, and the Anas, the Jukuns, and the rest. We are saying that this should stop. Let's look at leadership based on capacity. Maybe with this, we can have new ideas that can develop our place.
Based on capacity, performance.
Yeah, when you're coming for leadership, let's know your pedigree, know what you have to offer. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be about, I am Thief, I'm Igala, I'm Jukun, no. I think that is what we are.
It should be performance.
Yes, I think we have gone past that. So it's not that. And the issue of this power dynamics and the issues of propaganda that are in Kogi State that I have noticed are coming from the Igala. You can't take that away. So he shouldn't expect that. I see a reality and I say, because I don't want to mention Igala to be very wrong.
I mean, when you
talking about... Please hold your thoughts and collect them, because I want to stay on the international scene. Okay. Mark is calling in from Germany. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I've been a regular follower of your program, and I've always tried to contribute. Luckily for me today, I've been able to get you. Hello?
Please continue. We can hear you.
Okay. So I just want you to observe something.
Sure.
I hope you will give the other party the chance, the other side of the Kogi indigenous,
of the conversation,
opportunity to have this forum on your program to really say something about what is happening.
Oh, it goes without saying. Yes.
Okay, so
in the meantime, please sail forth.
Yeah. The man from the Middle Belt Forum who is there seems not to be aware of the situation of Kogi State. I think he's speaking from the perspective of somebody maybe who has something to benefit from the government. And then for the SSA who is there, he's speaking as somebody who is on the payroll of the state government. he cannot just tell me that all is well with Kogi State. If you say
Well, he
security
did
is-
say
is-
it's not exactly rosy. He did say we haven't arrived at where we intended, but that it is a work well in hand.
in progress.
Yes.
Yes.
And in
now,
hand.
I asked a question.
Sure.
I asked him a question. Is Basta local government part of Kogi State?
Of course.
Is Basta local government? Ask him.
Of
Is
course.
Basta
He's
local
answering
government
you.
Part
Of course.
Part of Kogi State?
Of course.
So is there security in Basta at the moment? Is Basta as secure as they want to make us believe?
Okay. So thank you. Is that
And
it?
then the issue.
Okay. Is there more? Do you want to
So
say
when
some
you
more?
talk of when you talk of governance also, now you talk of salaries being paid, as he's saying that some people are on salaries that they are being paid. You see, sometimes you need to encounter the people who are going through this situation for you to really understand what is going on in Kogi State.
Yeah.
So I feel, Uncle Yori, do justice to the people of Kogi State by bringing other parties maybe on another day to really give the world what is happening in Kogi State.
You can
That
depend
is just
on
my
it.
little contribution for today.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you so
sir,
much.
for calling in. Thank you very much for calling in, and you can depend on that last sentiment of yours.
So he just mentioned Basa. Basa is one of those local governments that is a bit isolated from every other
Security
local
is poor, is
No,
his
no.
allegation.
No, the issue is that there have been institutional issues. There are warring tribes in those places, and it's quite isolated. And believe me, each time there's incident, every time there's an incident, the governor deploys resources to that place. And he does his best to keep an eye on what is happening there. We have a young man who is the administrator of that place, who is quite capable. Yes, he because he's young, he has fresh ideas. He's robbing the guys who are on ground. The institutional politicians don't really like him, and that's what you are seeing. Let me explain Kogi situation to you, Uncle Yori. What we have is new talks, young people coming in with fresh ideas, and the establishment don't like that. They used to. There was a situation in Kogi where every month what will happen will be when local government funds come, you as what they call you a stakeholder. You as somebody who is established, a politician, that everybody comes to your house every day to collect money, you get a certain amount every month that you used to distribute. That has disappeared with Governor Yaya Bello. We don't have what we used to have in other states. What they have is ghost students. We have ghost schools created to fund political offices, to fund chieftaincies at some points. So when a governor comes and cancels all that, of course there will be resistance. Of course there will be pains. Yes, what Kogi is going through is now what I call growing pains, because we are changing the dynamics. We are changing the people who used to control things. They are no longer there. So it's painful for them, and they are hitting back. Believe me, they are hitting back.
Okay.
They are sponsoring stories against the governor, but the governor is stubborn enough to say, you know what, I'll concentrate on what I know is right.
Okay. Because we've run out of time, I'll give you about 30 seconds. Did you want to wrap up?
Yeah, basically, I'm happy this program took place, that we can be able to unfold the narratives being set on Kogi State and its governance to the public domain. But what we know and want the world to know is that what is happening in Kogi, the foundation being laid in Kogi now, is one that needs the entire support of Nigerians, so that we can be able to take the place from the stranglehold of these people that feel that this place belongs to them and it cannot go further than that.
Indeed, thank you very much. And indeed, as it goes without saying, as I said, we will also, seek to bring the other side of the story, just so you hear both sides of the story. That's our program. Our thanks to you, Terence Kwanum, President Middle Belt Youth Forum, and social commentator, and also our special thanks to Mr. Gbenga Olorunpomi, Senior Special Assistant to the Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello on electronic media, for giving us the official perspective as, beyond being a commentator, someone who is in government and is stating the facts. Thank you very much
Thanks,
for coming in. And that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.